Yeah, making a video. Yay. Okay, maybe it's not a good thing. Anyway, okay, we're gonna probably talk more about this determinism shit. This is just never gonna go away. I gotta find an angle, and I started this video without having an angle. But anyway, the Dana Garrett guy is a little irritated. He unsubscribed from me. The horror. Anyway, that's punishment for my bad attitude. Look, I'm sick of these people. I'm a materialist. I'm an atheist. No, you're not. Okay, you can say you are, but you're not. You're obviously have a huge bias to defend, justify, rationalize is a good word, human superlativeness, and to, contrive, some sort of Mary Poppins story. It's quite obvious. And Pyro's playing the same game, and, Nicotine's just waffling. But anyway, it's just not good enough. I mean, the idea somehow horrifies you that, the universe is made out of matter. The matter is, made out of energy. The energy was put in motion billions of years ago, and yes, it doesn't do anything fucked-hearted. It obeys physical, material rules. So there's no point in saying you're a materialist and yet you believe in free will. I'm sorry, non sequitur or something. It's one of those self-contradicting statements. The words contradict each other. You're not a materialist if you believe in phantasmagorical photons that randomly fly around and do all kinds of bizarre things. Bizarre, because we can't see them. Outside the boundaries of material, universal law. So I just think that's just an abuse of the language. And your video is scripted, and a scripted video should be a hell of a lot better than that. It was just a convoluted perversion of the circumstance, a convenient play on words. I don't know what to say. I mean, it just had all of the classic fundamentalist religious jackass who's going to oblige you to argue why the fossil with the dinosaur foot and the human foot in the same fossil is not what it appears to be. I'm not going to waste my time on that kind of crap, and it just degrades the whole fucking argument. So whatever. We shall mutually fuck each other off, so to speak. Alright, to the subject. Alright, quantum stuff again, Pyro. He's giving me some, they have done a couple of variations on the experiment. And, you know what somebody ought to do, though? This is a 100-year-old experiment. Why does somebody just lay it all out? This is what they did. This is how far the gun, this is the kind of gun it is. This is how far it is from the slits. This is how wide the slits are. This is the material it's made out of. The detector, this is how they detected, but no one does that. So, I think it's kind of lame to base a whole foundation of your theory of physics, based on the results of an experiment where you really haven't detailed all that. You haven't put it on the table. It's not, it hasn't been reduced to any real numbers. All we have is Mr. Quantum and his babble, and that's bullshit. It's real bullshit, incredible bullshit. Put up something to justify. Pyro's arguing that, they fired a single photon. Well, apparently some guy in Japan did that, like in 1950 or something. But I know he's done it since, as far as I've seen. Where's the evidence of this single electron thing? It's kind of thin, and it's kind of debatable whether the objective was achieved. And the whole thing is, the whole science thing sort of depends on that reproducibility thing. I just haven't seen where it's been redone with modifications. Again, it just seems like an awful lot of people just keep relying on something they don't want to sit there and fiddle with, because it's like the Holy Grail, and they don't want to scratch it and find out it's made out of tin. So anyway, I was thinking some more. It seems quite obvious that part of the mechanism here is diffraction. The material the whole experiment is essentially designed to maximize material interference with the photons as they travel. So the idea is to keep the barrier in the middle the right size to maximize what you might call a transfer of energy. And then, the slits themselves are narrow enough that if a photon does go through, there's a high probability that it's going to be affected by the edge material. and be diffracted, changed in its course. And as stated, electrons and photons, well, I know electrons anyway, I'm not an expert on photons, you can bend them all over the place. I mean, old televisions, used electron guns, and, they could twist the beam almost into a pretzel. They're very susceptible to not even huge magnetic influences. Yeah, the fact that they would diffract, change course, be influenced by material they're passing by is quite obvious. And so then we have the argument now is, well, so the only interference, quote unquote, that apparently disturbs the wave effect is what? Deliberate human interference, but all other all other interferences are okay. I mean, so if it's an interference from some other source, somehow the photon knows it's okay because it's not a human deliberate interference. I mean, there's just no rationality to this argument. I do better than this. I do better than that. So anyway, yeah, I have to do some diagrams. That's what I have to do. Start working this out in my head, because there is an answer to the situation, to the circumstance, and it just seems like people aren't looking for answers, not ones that are, Occam razor simple. They're looking for what's the most elaborate and bizarre answer, not, what's the, common, usual, oh shit, yeah, we got to account for that kind of answer. So, anyway, I was thinking about frequency and light again, and photons and electrons. I was sort of thinking, how do we, they have this component of a frequency, and I'm still kind of thinking about how that's built into the structure. And so I'm sort of thinking it has maybe a spin. That's sort of what I was talking about, that there's a rotation that accounts for frequency. Rotations per second, or whatever, per unit of time. And so you have that component could hold the energy that creates the difference between a gamma ray or an X-ray and green light or whatever. And that's what changes the amount of energy. It's just how fast they're spinning. And I like it. I mean, it's simple. But I got to work through what it actually means in terms of wavelength, because that's the way they always talk about it, as if there's a length of time, a period, and an amplitude. So I have to convert those terms into something that would be a sideways movement rather than a forward movement. So really none of it has anything to do with the speed of light. I mean, they all travel at the speed of light. Electrons moving through a wire essentially travel the speed of light. If you discount any heat created, any friction. I mean, so if you have a pure enough conductor, I guess is what I'm saying, they will effectively travel at light speed, electrons. So, yeah, it's sort of a giveaway, right? But they got to be sort of made of the same stuff the other stuff traveling at the speed of light is made of. But it's easy to fall into traps. But yeah, this magnetism thing is a really important thing. The electricity thing, and this conductor, the idea that, they have to travel through some sort of conduit, some material conduit to get from one place to another. These are sort of interesting concepts, and I'd be thinking on them and such. Yeah. All right, so anyway, the determinism thing again, I'll bring up the examples that I've brought up before, but I mean, they're good examples in my opinion. I mean, we can create thinking, very complex, solid state processing, whatever you want to call it, a mechanical device that simulates brain type activity. There's input and there's output, and there's a complex bunch of crap that goes on in between. And that's basically what humans are, input and then there's output. And those devices don't fail for quantum reasons. They don't fail because some irregular, independent, free will photon, decides to go left, and the hardware demanded right or something. It just doesn't happen. It's all happening. Whatever's happening on the quantum level is so distant from this surface that it can't manifest itself as meaning anything, because it's all been accounted for in the function here. It's been diluted. It's been muffled beyond meaning. It's just so hard to say. I mean, it's like me holding a flashlight and pointing it into space, and then somebody practically arguing that little extra bit of light, combined with all the sun's light, somehow could possibly make a difference in how the universe turns in some substantial way. It just doesn't. It's just. It just doesn't. There's just no way to make that happen. There's no logic that'll. Yeah, you can't make it into something rational. Anyway, that's probably way enough of a video. Yeah, sorry. I guess I'm gonna have to make scripted videos, or more disciplined ones. So all this talking about it stuff is a little bit pointless because the argument's going to be better pointed and such. Yeah. So, sorry, until next time. And yeah, I just hate to waste this little walking time, but yeah, it's just really no point, I guess. Well, this doesn't matter. I mean, you either want to, you don't. Obviously, you don't. Most of you, but you're not listening. You say you don't. So that sort of pisses me off. I don't get to say to you, you're not watching the damn video. And it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, I'll just use it for my own, just to get myself focused. That's right. I'll just keep calling it practice. And that'll be my excuse. So anyway, until next time.